I still get chills thinking back to that little roadside cafe in rural Kansas. The kind of place where the coffee's always a bit too strong and the regulars know everyone's business. Sunnyside Cafe, tucked off Highway 70, with its faded red booths and that eternal hum of the old jukebox in the corner. It started like any other morning rush, folks piling in for eggs and hash browns. But right away, you could feel the tension thick as the grease in the air. Sarah Thompson, this tough-as-nails waitress who'd been there forever, was balancing trays one-handed, her right wrist wrapped in a bulky cast, wincing with every shift of weight, yet flashing that warm smile like nothing could touch her. And then there was her boss, Mike Harlan, leaning against the register like he owned the world, barking at her over every little thing. "Hurry it up, Sarah. Customers ain't here for your sob story," his voice slicing through the chatter, making heads turn and whispers start, because everyone knew something was off, way off. Sarah, she was the heart of that place. You see, mid-40s, single mom scraping by to pay for her kids' college dreams, always remembering how you liked your coffee, slipping extra cream to the truckers on long hauls. But that day, her arm was killing her, a fresh break from what she called a stupid slip in the kitchen, though deep down, she knew better. Mike had it out for her from the jump, jealous, I guess, because the customers loved her, tipped her big, while he was just the guy who counted the cash and grumbled about overhead. He'd been skimming from the till for months, padding his pockets to fund some shady side hustle, a gambling habit that was eating him alive, and Sarah, poor thing, had overheard him one night after close, bragging on the phone about how easy it was to fudge the numbers. She'd frozen in the hallway, heart pounding, and when he caught her, his face twisted, grabbed her wrist in a flash, yanking it hard till it snapped, hissing right in her ear, "Clumsy bitch, huh? Say one word, and it's not just your Joby, you'll lose everything, that kid of yours included." It wasn't just theft, it was control, pure and ugly, born from his fear of getting exposed in a town where reputations were currency, and Sarah, with her quiet strength, became the perfect scapegoat. Started piling on write-ups, petty stuff like slow service or bad attitude, all to build a case against her when the missing money surfaced. The regulars noticed. Oh yeah, two old farmers at the counter muttering, "Mike's riding her hard today. Ain't right with that arm." And a young couple in the booth shaking their heads. But Sarah just kept going, sweat beading on her forehead, her good hand trembling as she poured refills. Because quitting meant no rent, no food on the table, and that broken wrist was a constant reminder of what crossing Mike could cost. I'd been watching from my usual spot, the back booth by the window. Folks called me the old timer, Jack Reynolds, retired mechanic in my late 60s, nursing black coffee and pretending to read the paper, but truth was, I owned the joint, had for years, keeping it under wraps to see how things really ran when the boss wasn't hovering. I'd built Sunnyside from nothing after the Army, a spot for folks to feel at home, but lately, the vibes were sour, and seeing Sarah push through-flinching when Mike snapped, "Use both hands. Oh wait, you can't." With that smug chuckle that made my blood boil, I knew it was more than bad management. It was rot from the inside. Things escalated that afternoon when Sarah bumped a tray, sending a plate crashing. Mike stormed over, face red, yelling loud enough for the whole cafe. "See? This is what I deal with. Careless as hell. Customers shifting uncomfortably. One lady whispering, 'Give her a break, man.' But Mike just grinned, leaning in close to Sarah, murmuring so only she heard, 'Keep screwing up, and I'll make sure everyone knows you're the thief around here.'" Her eyes flashed with fear, but she bit it back, apologizing softly, picking up shards with one hand while inside. That fire simmered the injustice of it all. Working twice as hard just to survive his games. I couldn't sit idle anymore. That night, after close, I slipped into the office door ajar, papers everywhere, and there it was, stacks of falsified reports on Sarah, tallies showing cash dips every week, no audits filed. Then I overheard Mike in the back with his buddy, laughing over beers, another couple grand pocketed. And when the owner notices, bam, Sarah takes the fall. Got her all lined up with those write-ups, and that wrist? Reminded her who's boss, his voice cold, triumphant, like he'd won some twisted game, and my fists clenched in the shadows. Military days flooding back, that sense of righting wrongs before they swallowed everything good. The next morning hit like a storm cave, buzzing as usual, Sarah weaving through tables, Cast bumping her side, forcing a grin through the ache, but I walked indifferent, spine straight. No more hiding. Mike was schmoozing at the counter, joking with a waitress who fake laughed. But when I tapped my mug for attention ding, the room hushed, forks pausing midair. Folks, time you know him, Jack Reynolds, and I own this place, I said, voice steady, watching Mike's smirk fade to chalk-white panic. What? You're kidding, right? He stammered, but I slapped down the folder reports, logs, all the dirt. I've seen enough, Mike. The theft, the lies about Sarah, and yeah, what you did to her arm to shut her up. Gasps rippled, customers leaning in. I knew he was shady. One guy muttered and Mike spluttered. This is bull. You can't prove, but the cops I called rolled in right then, badges flashing, cuffs clicking as they hauled him out, his protests echoing, wait, this ain't fair. While the cafe erupted in murmurs, a few claps breaking through. Sarah stood there, hand over her mouth, tears welling as the weight lifted finally seen. Not pity, Dan, I turned to her, softer now. You've carried this cafe, Sarah, through hell and back. From today, you're running the floor. Supervisor title and all. She nodded, a sob escaping, shoulders straightening for the first time in months, customers cheering as Mike's cruiser pulled away, the air suddenly lighter, like the grease had lifted. But here's the thing that sticks with me: is I right to play ghost owner, spying on my own people? Or does that cross a line into creepy territory? Justice got served, sure, but in a world where trust's already thin, maybe we need more upfront eyes, less shadows. What do you think? Should bosses go undercover like that? Or is it just another power play? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Share if you've seen something similar in your town, because these stories hit home, and hearing your take on right, wrong, and that gray area in between keeps the conversation going. Hit subscribe if you want more real-life twists like this.